All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to untangle one of the absolute most common sources of cloud network complexity out there, and that is AWS Transit Gateway. You know, if you spend any time architecting in the cloud, you already know that keeping your networks connected, secure, and actually manageable can quickly become just a monumental task. But honestly, it really doesn't have to be. So let's break down exactly how you can streamline your infrastructure.
If you're managing multi-account cloud environments, you are probably so tired of the massive headache caused by endless point-to-point connections. Think about it. When you first start out, connecting one virtual private cloud, or VPC, to another is, well, it's pretty easy. But as you grow, suddenly you're managing dozens, maybe even hundreds of individual peering links. It becomes incredibly fragile and, let's be real, nearly impossible to audit.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to look at the VPC peering problem, introduce Transit Gateway, walk through the benefits, hit the 6 implementation steps, and then wrap up with best practices and troubleshooting.
Okay, section 1. Let's start with that tangled network nightmare that plagues so many cloud architects today. The core issue here is really just a matter of scale. The old way relies on this totally messy web of peer-to-peer links. If every single VPC has to connect directly to every other VPC, the math just gets crazy and the number of connections scales completely out of control. The new way, though, relies on one single elegant routing hub. Instead of connecting every VPC to each other, you just connect them all to one central point. It's a fundamental shift in how you look at your cloud topography. Moving to section 2. What exactly is this tool serving as the grand central station of your cloud network? Let's officially meet AWS Transit Gateway. By definition, AWS Transit Gateway, which you'll often hear abbreviated as TGW, is that central hub. It's a hub-and-spoke networking service that seamlessly connects all your spoke VPCs, your external VPNs, and your direct connect gateways. The beauty of it is that your spoke VPCs don't even need to know about each other anymore. They literally only need to know how to talk to the Transit Gateway. It acts as the ultimate mediator for all your traffic.
Section 3, let's talk about the benefits, because moving to a central hub isn't just about cleaning up an architecture diagram.
Imagine a typical enterprise company. They have entirely separate networks for production, development, shared services, and maybe some on-premises data centers. In the past, unifying these meant a literal labyrinth of individual connections, overlapping IP addresses, and just incredibly complex routing tables. Now, by using Transit Gateway as a central routing hub, they can unify these environments cleanly and efficiently. You're completely dropping the overhead of managing all those separate peer connections.
So the real payoff here is massive. First off, it drastically simplifies your architecture and reduces complexity, meaning you can finally say goodbye to that fragile spider web of connections. It also gives you centralized routing management, which provides your team with a single pane of glass for traffic control. Plus, it natively supports multi-account environments. And because it is a fully managed AWS service, it stays highly available and scales right alongside your traffic without you having to sweat the details.
All right, section 4. Let's transition from networking theory into a concrete action plan and look at the 6 implementation steps. You can build this architecture out in a really straightforward, highly repeatable process. First, you start by actually creating the Transit Gateway itself. Step 2, you attach your spoke VPCs to that new hub. Once they're connected, steps 3 and 4 are all about configuring your routing. So you're updating both the gateway's route tables and your individual VPC route tables to make sure traffic flows exactly how you want it to. Step 5, you bridge your on-premises environments with VPN or direct connect attachments. And finally, step 6, you run your connectivity tests to ensure the whole shebang is humming along perfectly. Moving to section 5. With your central hub successfully built, your attention needs to immediately shift to day 2 operations and security. To maintain a strict operational blueprint, there are 3 absolutely crucial areas you need to focus on. For security, you've got to follow least privilege IAM permissions. Only give administrators the exact access they need, nothing more. For visibility, you want to be continuously monitoring your traffic using CloudWatch and VPC flow logs so you aren't flying blind. And for routing, make sure you use separate route tables for network segmentation. Keep your production traffic well away from development, enable route propagation where it makes sense, and please, meticulously document your policies. Section 6. Because, let's face it, even the best designed networks can hit a snag. Let's cover troubleshooting. When things go wrong, and they will, you need to systematically rule out issues using a simple checklist. Always start by verifying your attachment status, just to make sure the VPC is actually active. Then, basically, follow the packet. Check the TGW route tables to see if the hub actually knows where to send the data, and validate the VPC route cables to ensure the spoke is sending it to the hub in the first place. If your routing looks perfect, check your security groups and NACLs to see if a firewall rule is just quietly dropping the packet. And if you're dealing with an on-premises issue, always review your VPN tunnel status. So we've covered a lot of ground in this explainer. After seeing exactly how AWS Transit Gateway cures that massive headache of VPC peering complexity through a really elegant hub-and-spoke model, you've got to ask yourself a critical question. Take a hard look at your current infrastructure right now. Is it time to upgrade your network to the ultimate central hub? If you're still relying on that messy spider web of individual connections, the practical guide we just walked through today might be the exact blueprint you need to finally regain control of your cloud architecture.